let's go ahead and do this PGA Tour. What are the odds? That's why you're here for this fun little segment. First, look at the odds for the next leg of the FedEx Cup Championship. So it's the BMW Championship. But real quick, let's look back at this past weekend here. So we crowned our fantasy golf world champion, right, for the 2021 season at the conclusion of the Northern Trust. Looking at this winner's lineup here, Ski Basher, what put this individual over the top? I know we talked a little bit about it yesterday, but for anyone who missed it, you gotta bring me inside your brain. Let me know what you're thinking.
So it's kind of funny. He, as much as he hit on the right pivots, he did, if we start off with it, he missed on the top two guys, on Finau and Rahm. But when you get it down to it, this is a 40-person event, and you can afford a couple misses like that. So, what he did, obviously going Spieth and DeChambeau at the top. Now, that looks like a huge miss, but in a 40-man lineup, both Spieth and DeChambeau made the cut, and both Spieth and DeChambeau made a ton of birdies this week. Spieth with the 3 eagles. He had a horrible Sunday, but again, because of all the scoring that he got from Spieth and DeChambeau, it didn't matter. Now, the big thing here was Ski Basher was one of only 2 lineups in the 40-man contest who got 6 of 6 through. So again, just the fact Spieth and Bryson got through, it still made them extremely valuable. Not as valuable as Finau and Rahm would have been, but very valuable. He made some really good tournament pivots. Sung Jae Im at 2.5% owned, going off like the Matthew Fitzpatrick, the Sergio Garcia plays, which were more highly owned. Shane Lowry ate the chalk, but then Charlie Hoffman was a good pivot too, because Johnny Vegas at that price was also highly owned, and he missed the cut. So he just made the proper pivots off the really popular plays. And again, he didn't really hit the right notes with Bryson and Spieth, but they weren't huge misses because they made the cut, if that makes sense. So
no, it does.
Just a really solid lineup, hit those birdie makers, and it really worked out in his favor because they had so much of that heavy chalk missing the cut.
I mean, he didn't really have to sweat out a whole lot. Probably the most nerve-wracking moment of all this is you have to wait 5 days instead of 4 to claim like the $1 million prize, right? Like, he didn't have much of a threat. Yeah. I'm looking at Kid Cudi here, who was in second place, and I mean, he still finishes almost 30 points behind him.
Yeah, I mean, again, just to hammer this point home, I mean, Kid Cudi was the only other person who got 6 of 6 through the cut. He finished second, and he did have Jon Rahm, but because Ski Basher's lineup was so balanced and everybody was making birdies for him, his worst player was outside of Spieth was Bryson at -8. Kid Cudi had Casey at 4, he had Harman at +3, Lanto, like his bottom 3 players just didn't come through for him. So both really good lineups. They made some good pivots, but again, just a really balanced attack by Ski Basher. And when you get this many high casualty miscut lineups, these type of lineups just tend to fly. So yeah, shout out to both those guys at the top for getting the 6 of 6 through this week.